Yes, boys, what is the story? Welcome back to Game Week 16 FPL Draft Preview. It is myself, Nolezy, one half of the FPL Draft Duo. Today we're looking at all things draft, starting off with Chelsea assets. Who are the best ones to target over this great run of fixtures? Palace, boys, is a time to invest. All the best waivers, ranking some strikers, and then the all-important listener question. So let's get into it. Starting off with our Chelsea boys, a lot of people are asking about these. I think it's because, first and foremost, Chelsea playing very well. They have a serious run of fixtures, but often there are Chelsea boys on the waiver. And I think when people are on a waiver, they're way more likely to catch your eye. If you had the pick of everyone, probably wouldn't pick them because they're on the waiver. You know, they look like the shiny gold toy in the window. So let's dissect who could be a good option and who could be an actual decent pickup, even if they look better than they are. So the run of fixtures first and foremost: Brentford at home, Everton away, Fulham at home, Ipswich away, Palace away, Bournemouth at home, and then Wolves at home. All rated 2 on the FDR. Defensively, they actually haven't been great in terms of keeping clean sheets. I think they've been a lot more solid in all areas, but we're looking at our attacking assets and mainly the wingers. I know Nkunku's in here as well. A couple of people asked me about Nkunku. So for the most part, just to note, Enzo is an unreal pick. We talked about him, I think, last week or the week before. Still a very, very good pick. We talked about Caicedo as being a real solid pick. I think he got the assist the last day as well. And we'll talk about some of the defenders. Cole Palmer, nailed. Jackson, for the most part, nailed because he's on 4 yellows. So let's have a look at the ones that a lot of people are asking about. Madueke, Neto, Sancho, and Nkunku. And we're looking at a couple of different categories. The minutes per 90 they've played this year, and then the starts, expected goal involvements, goals and assists, points per start, and then my estimated starts over the next 6 games, the really, really good ones for Chelsea. How many do I think they're going to get? So, in terms of our minutes per 90, it's fairly simple. Madueke is on top, 68 minutes per 90 or per game, and he's had 12 starts. Going down in a descending order, Neto 7 starts, Sancho 6 starts, and Nkunku 2 starts. Neto 57 minutes, Sancho 56. So very little to go between Neto and Sancho in terms of starts and minutes. Nkunku well down the list. Now, we might see, I have it down here as Nkunku 1 start over the next 6, but he could get 2 if Jackson gets them yellows. And we'll talk about at the end, is that worth it? So in terms of the XGI, Madueke is out on top with 5.6. Again, Neto and Sancho, like, right beside each other, 1.8, 1.8. And Nkunku actually has a 3.5. So we'll realise that when Nkunku's on the pitch, really, really good asset, but just getting on the pitch is a big thing. Goals and assists, again, Madueke is on top, 5 and 2, 5 goals, 2 assists. Sancho, 2 goals and 4 assists this season, so performing really, really well, outperforming his stats. Neto with a 1 and a 1, not great, and Nkunku with a 2 and a 1. So points per game, Nkunku's out on top, 7 points per game, or per start, excuse me. Sancho 4.5, very healthy, 4.5. Madueke at a 5.42, again, very, very good. And we have a lot more information to go on with Madueke. And then estimated starts, probably the most important. I'm estimating over the next 6, Madueke gets 4 starts. For Neto and Sancho, I think both of them will get around 3 starts. You know, if 4, if you're going well, you know, if it goes 3 or 2, you're getting done. And then Nkunku, as I said, 1 or 2. So to sum up, Madueke is the solid pick. He has had the most starts this season. His stats back it up. Very solid pick. Neto is banned for the next game, so we will probably see Sancho and Madueke start. Now, the thing is that João Felix might get a random start in here, but because they're going so well, I can't see them starting multiple players at once. I can't see them starting in Nkunku and a Felix. So, based on his performance as well and his underlying stats, Jadon Sancho is actually a serious pick. Okay, serious might be a bit much, but he played so well for Chelsea the last day in holding up the ball and playing, holding up the ball not as a striker, but when they needed to get out, he was really, really effective. I think he'll be a nice pickup over the next 6. Beware, right, that he will only start probably 4 games. If he starts 5 games, you got a real gem in your hands. So expect some benchings, but when he plays 4.5 points per start, he actually is effective. 2 goals, 4 assists. Definitely worth a pickup. Neto, if you have him, still hold. If you're looking to pick up a Chelsea asset that's not Madueke or Sancho, Neto is definitely still a nice little pick in there. 3 or 4 games. Just have a bench ready. So Chelsea assets, really good to target. Just be very aware of minutes. If there's a player out there that is guaranteed 90 minutes every day, might actually be more effective. But we want to take advantage. We want to get them high scores and hopefully get them Ws. Okay, looking at a few Palace boys now, and although it's just a draw against City, they looked a lot better. And if we actually dissect their fixtures coming into January, getting them now could be a good little tactic. And I suppose in the draft we're always looking way further ahead. We're looking, can we get value out of players? Let's look at their fixtures first and foremost. Brighton away. Brighton haven't been solid defensively at all. So maybe if we're looking towards attacking players and you're attacking wing backs in Mitchell and Munoz, you could be looking for a return there. Arsenal at home, always a tough fixture. We know what that is. I wouldn't say ignore it, but let's just take it in our stride. Then we have 2 very good fixtures in Bournemouth and Southampton. Bournemouth away and Southampton at home. You'd love to have your players for them. Bournemouth, we know, are a fantastic side this year, but Southampton are definitely a team to target. Chelsea, as we said, very good team, playing very well. But after that, Leicester, West Ham and Brentford. So hard to get a clean sheet in FPL this year. And we have some attacking players from the Palace team. So, again, we have to be very wary of Eze and his injury. He's been managed. We see that Sarr has been starting consistently in that kind of number 10 role, in a winger role. Kamada not featuring much. And Ketia poor when he came on. I can't see him getting a starting place, only maybe to rest Mateta. So we're seeing a bit more of a solid team in Palace. Wharton coming back, so that will solidify the midfield as well. Will Hughes playing very, very well. Decore, so they're getting a lot better as a team. Lacroix with a header and player of the month for Palace. Munoz with 3 returns in a row. So I feel that investing in those Palace players, hoping that not only do they improve in FPL terms, but also as a team. And I think I have Henderson down in the keepers. If not, Henderson's also a great pick. He's on my waiver, that's why I'm thinking of it. But those Palace boys, obviously Eze as his attacking threat has to be up there, but always question marks. Sarr is now a fantastic pick. Our wing backs are always good picks. Munoz is finally starting to become the player that we thought he would at the start of the season. And if we're looking for just a solid defensive player, Lacroix for a header. And even if we're looking very far ahead again, then game week 18, 19, 21, Henderson as a keeper to rack up those saves. Some great options there, and hopefully Palace can fulfill their potential. Right, looking at some great waiver options now, and I have, I suppose, a tiered list, you could call it. I have just options to fill your team that might improve injured players or take advantage of fixtures. Then I have good options that will definitely improve your team, that you can keep in your team for a good few game weeks, that you can keep for nearly the rest of the season if all goes well. Let's have a look at our lower level players. Starting off with goalkeepers, a couple of goalkeepers to pick up. Lumley of Southampton. I know Southampton are not a good team, but even his last 3 returns, 3-2-3. For a team that you know aren't going to keep a clean sheet, it's not bad. And I know I had someone onto me on Instagram asking should he pick him up. And now that I think of it, it's probably an okay decision. If you have a Kelleher who's probably going to be out of the team soon, if you have any struggling keeper, if you had McCarthy and you want to move to a Lumley, it's a playing keeper. It's better than nothing. Another keeper, probably not a great option because of all the injuries, but some good fixtures and a good enough side in Spurs. Forster, we talked about him maybe 2 weeks ago when we knew that Vicario injuries in there, but they play Southampton, Liverpool, Forest and Wolves. I actually don't even see them keeping a clean sheet, but hopefully he might be able to rack up a couple of saves. We'll talk a bit more about the Spurs defence now, actually, because we're on to Dragusin. So in terms of my defenders for, low level options, Dragusin does play Southampton this week and Liverpool then, Forest and Wolves. You really look into that Southampton fixture because I feel Forest and Wolves could definitely score against Spurs. They now have Davis injured, as far as I'm aware. They now have Romero looks to be out. Van de Ven having that hamstring problem. So Dragusin is probably a shoe in there at centre back. Vicario's injured. So they essentially have their centre backs out and their goalkeeper. And they're not really a good defensive team either. So I do have in midfielder some Southampton players that might be able to attack that defence. If you think, Spurs are good enough to keep a clean sheet against Southampton, Dragusin might be a decent option. If not, maybe you go for a Tyler Dibbling, who I have down here, or a Cameron Archer, who I have in the forward section, because of that very weakened and weak Spurs defence. Another defender I have down is Joe Gomez. Again, we should know that he'll be in there for the next couple of weeks, or should be, for Liverpool because of that Kanata injury. So if he's still knocking around, I'm sure he's picked up. They have some good fixtures: Fulham, Spurs, Leicester, West Ham. And, by then you might be looking at a Kanata return. You never know. As I said, in midfield, Tyler Dibbling, a decent option if you want to attack that Spurs fixture. But good option going forward, he's got a good few starts in a row, is our boy with a big head in him, Tommy Soucek. Tommy Soucek banged another one. He has started the last 5 games in a row and has got 2 returns. So we know what you're getting with Tommy Soucek. You just play him. You hope you get a return every couple of game weeks, every 4 or 5 game weeks, as he's done, and your 2 returns or your 2 points per game after that. Their fixtures are decent, but again, we're looking to the air for him. Bournemouth away, Brighton at home, Southampton away. 3 very good fixtures. Tommy Soucek, decent plug in any team. I suppose it's his starting, it's his minutes that kind of worried us, but he has got 5 starts in a row. So probably the best option out of those that might plug into your team long term. In terms of our better options, that would definitely be an upgrade. We're starting off with our goalkeepers in Leno. Leno hasn't got as much praise as he usually does this year, but that's because he's usually racking up a load of saves. Fulham are actually better than they have been in previous years. Therefore, he actually has less saves. But his fixtures are good as well. Apart from next week. Liverpool away. Southampton. Okay, Chelsea. Okay, 2 tough fixtures in the next 3. But after that, Bournemouth, Ipswich, West Ham and Leicester in a row. So again, if you want to make a little investment in the Fulham boys, good option. 2 Chelsea boys that will be good picks for the next couple of game weeks, them 6 game weeks. Badiashile and Cucurella. I know he had that bit of a howler, but I think of them defenders. I know Disasi and Toshin got a start, but for the most part, maybe 4 out of them 6 games, 4 or 5 out of them 6 games, I believe them 2 will start. Caldwell probably picked up. Gusto probably picked up. So great options. I'd probably go Badiashile. No, I don't know. I'd probably Cucurella for the attack and returns. Badiashile a bit more nailed. And then finally, great little pickup who I actually just traded away, but Decky Rice. Decky Rice, so solid. There was one question about him. Should you have him in a 12-man team? 100%. I think in a 12-team league, unless really good midfield, Decky Rice is probably going to be a good plug in there. Decky Rice got a bonus point last week, which just shows you what he does. They drew 1-1 and he got a bonus point with no return. So, on another day that could be, 5 points with a clean sheet and 2 bonus. 7 points the day before that. He's only got 2 assists, but we know what the crack is with Arsenal's corners. They're like free kicks now. So Decky Rice is on them from the, whatever way you want to put it, the left-hand side with his right foot, and Saka's on the other side. So they continue to exploit that corner routine. Decky Rice is and will continue to be a very decent option in the draft. And on to our striker section. I have 4 possible striker pickups here, starting from best to maybe worst. Maybe they're not ranked. Højlund. I think Højlund is going to be, or at least will play more minutes than Xerxes. We said it last week in terms of being wary about who to pick up, or especially picking up Xerxes. I think Højlund should be and will be the preferred number 9. Now, looking at his numbers, 2 goals, 1 assist. He's only played 600 minutes of football. So if we break that down, that's every 200 minutes. It's just over 2 games per return. It's not the worst for a striker who isn't known for being very prolific and talking about his hold-up play. I think he would be the preferred number 9 for United, and they have some decent fixtures. City this week, yeah, but Bournemouth, Wolves, Newcastle, Liverpool again, tough fixture, but then Southampton, Brighton, Fulham. So that could take you all the way up to the end of January, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games away until February. I think he'll be fairly productive. Yes, his minutes will be managed, but still a good option. We have Fulkrug, who did not get on the pitch, funny enough, last week. But I do expect him to play up top, or at least play up top a lot more for West Ham. Bowen did play there and got his goal and assist, but he's not as effective up there as he is on the right wing. And I know that's counterproductive because he just got a goal and assist, but when he's slightly drifted towards the end of that game when he got them returns. Anyways, Fulkrug, we know the crack with Antonio, so he has less competition. I think Fulkrug will get his game time. He's been managed, so maybe it's more of a luxury move that if you have a playing striker. Now, he'll be picked up an awful lot last week, so you might have missed him, but still looking for a third striker, possibly even a second striker. Fulkrug should be on the waiver if not picked up last week. And then Igor Thiago got his start. So maybe you want to put Thiago over Fulkrug. Probably a smart decision. He played... Sorry, just get up the stats. Brentford. He played 72 minutes. Not much activity in the XGI, 0.01, but he's a powerful, strong striker, and I think if he gets into it, he'll be relatively productive. I don't ever see him being a 15, 20 goal striker. I know that's tough, but I just don't see it. He also has competition from Wissa and possibly Shade up top. He's a lot of different options. I still think he's a good pickup for the foreseeable, but Cameron Archer's nailed. Cameron Archer could go off against Spurs this weekend. If you're looking for someone way more solid that you need in your team immediately, Cameron Archer, good pickup, especially for this weekend. If you're looking for someone who could be a nice, consistent player in the future, Iko Thiago, you'll have to invest in. Fulkrug is a bit of a wild card pick where hopefully he should come back into that team fairly quick, but didn't get a minute the last day. So Igor looks a bit more of a sensible pick. And then Hoyland, I think, at the elite level in the smaller leagues, I think Hoyland could be a good investment. It's a pity that he did score because he might have gone under the radar even more. I think he'll be fairly productive and the number 9 for United. Hopefully gets them some W's. Finally, on to our listener questions, and as always, we've loads in. Apologies if we can't get back to them. If you want your question read out or answered online, Instagram is the place. Yes, Twitter, but we usually do Q&As on Instagram. So hit us up, give us a follow on all those social media platforms. Honestly, everything is appreciated. Every view, every like. So yeah, let's hit 50 likes on this video. Yeah. Really appreciate it, honestly. Let's go through them. Hopefully we'll give you the right answers and get you the W. Do I get Hoyland in for Delap? I already have Diallo. Delap going very well, but I still would do it. Trade value, fixtures, better side, I think. I would do it. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that you have Diallo. I think he's a great pick as well. Let's go to... We'll keep on the left-hand side. Okay, in order, which defenders would you waiver? Hall, Kirkes, Munoz, or Caldwell? Would you waiver? In order, I think I'd waiver Caldwell first and foremost. Maybe Munoz. Munoz or Caldwell. I think Caldwell just for fixtures, Munoz for high upside. I think I'd be a bit more settled with Caldwell, although it mightn't be the best decision. Munoz I'd actually be really happy to have. Maybe I would go Munoz and Caldwell, very little between them. I think I'll go Hall then. Newcastle, decent side. They have some good fixtures coming up. Kirkes, yes, he's a great player. How solid are Bournemouth defensively? How will they stay solid? I think Hall has a better chance of getting those clean sheets, although Kirkes, fantastic baller. So I would go Munoz, Caldwell, Hall, Kirkes. All good options though. Pick 3 of 4 to start. Nori, Munoz, Timber, or Wan-Bissaka. So for me, Nori always has the ability to get an attack and return, even though they have a decent fixture. I'd be playing Nori, definitely. Just checking who they're playing. I think forget who it is. I think it could be even Ipswich. Yeah, it is Ipswich. Yeah, definitely start Nori. Munoz, I'd start as well. Again, attack and return. And then Timber, decent fixture. Arsenal always have good expected clean sheets. So I would go Timber and then Wan-Bissaka. Good luck, West Ham. They just break your heart, don't they? Every time they break your heart. Emerson has a pick, and he's got combined 2 points in the last 2 weeks. That's just West Ham. Take Enzo, Morgan Gibbs White, or Sabazlai instead of Ahmed. I don't think I would. I think I'd keep Ahmed there. I think Ahmed's returned like 5 times in the last 4 games, something like that. Enzo, Morgan Gibbs White, very solid options. Sabazlai, bit of a rotation risk. Plays like every 2 out of 3 games. Enzo and Morgan Gibbs White, good options, but I would prefer Ahmed myself. Digne was dropped last week. Worth picking him up. Yeah, if you want pain, if you want to have your hopes and dreams crushed, yeah, pick him up. But if you want to have a normal, stress-free life, leave him where he is. Need a plan for Luis Diaz. Getting frustrating now. 9-man league. I can understand. I've never owned him, but I can only understand what he's like. Always the case with Luis Diaz, your Jotas, your Gakpos, these Liverpool boys that are rotated. I usually stay away from them. I suppose a get out plan is one option: wait until he returns and trade him immediately. He did start in the Champions League, so probably looking like another benching. Option 2 is swindle him in a trade. Get him and another decent player for maybe a very good player that starts in a waiver pick, something like that. You could wait for him to return and then trade him, or you could just kind of get him away in a trade, someone that will, be hopeful that he'll do well. Or you can just go straight to the waiver pile. If you're in a 9-man league, there could be some good options. There could be like an Ahmed, probably not. I'm not saying Enzo, because it's a big jump there in terms of threat. But, if you want to solidify and you're getting frustrated and maybe you're losing games because of a point or two, solidify it up. Don't be afraid. Next question. Sabazlai, Rutter, or Buonanotte for this game week? Got to check all their fixtures. Who are Brighton playing again? I think Rutter is always a good option. I think Rutter, in terms of his ability to return and Brighton's ability going forward, I would like Rutter. Buonanotte, we know his threat. I think if I had the pick of the three of them, I would go for my guy Rutter. Very, very good attacking Brighton side. Sabazlai, yeah, good, but can you guarantee he's going to start? If Brendan Johnson is fit, do I play him over all these three? Yeah, definitely. Gibbs White or El Canusi in Canus, is it? Leicester dude. I think Gibbs White long term. I think they're a better side overall. I know he really came onto the scene and has been banging for Van Nistelrooy, but I do still think Gibbs White is a smart pick long term. Morgan Gibbs White or Curtis Jones? I still go Morgan Gibbs White. I love how everyone's getting back on Morgan Gibbs White. I love the man, but he was frustrating for a long time. Don't get too overhyped. We know his ceiling sometimes can be, I was going to say low, stable. We know we've went through this already, so don't get too over hyped on him, but definitely over Curtis Jones. And last question: Foden still a huge dilemma? Keep or what? I really feel for people that picked up Foden. You picked up the Player of the Year last year. I don't know how many goals and assists he got, and he's probably the weakest link in your team. Not playing, probably could have been your first pick. I'd feel for you, and I've told you, hold on, he'll come good. Had a really good run of games. Got 1 assist, but his stats are still okay. 4.2 expected goal involvements. Illness currently, I don't know what's going on. Maybe there is something behind the scenes. I think if you have an option and you want to just get rid of the stress, and there's a good player there or someone will trade, fair enough. I think the only other option you can do is hold and hope out, because his underlying stats are there. City, I think, will go on a rampage. I think they'll continue to win from now on, and I think Foden, De Bruyne are going to be focal to that. I've said that for so long, but I think maybe holding a week or two, you might be happy rather than wavering. If there's a trade there, you're happy enough, fair, right? But if you're going wavering, I think wait a week and maybe solidify somewhere else in your team just to invest slight more. My God. Yeah, I think that might be a sensible option long term. But other than that, again, as always, thank you so much for listening. Appreciate every bit of support. We see the Spotify raps there, like crazy that people our podcast is someone's top listen. So thank you as much as possible for that. And yeah, FPL draft you out. Boom.